Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's me, Emmy the Cat Lady, and you join me here. We're back in Fallout New Vegas, and we're here in Prim today. So I've got a little bit of a kind of 4-in-1 Wasteland biography for you today. So everyone loves a good crime drama. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about a couple of pairs of would-be criminals that you can encounter and learn about in this game. And it's a couple of unmarked quests that are quite easy to miss because you can begin it early in the game. You obviously come into Prim pretty early in the game, so it's quite easy to miss if you never come back here. So you can miss it if you don't ever come back here later in the game once you've boosted your skills and things. So we're going to head in to... I have already... Oh, sorry, just ran into a wind bram in there. I have already got the required data, but we're going to go in here to talk about it first anyway. So this is obviously the Vikki Vance casino, located in Prim across from the Bison Steve. So this is where you come to find Johnson Nash. So fairly kind of standard casino. I don't know why the frame rate's suddenly having issues. And if you look around this place, so obviously it's a casino. And you can gamble once you've kind of sorted out all the problems in the town. But there's also a bit of a museum kind of displays and things that you can find around the place. So we've got this car here that's full of bullet holes. There's a couple of mannequins here which are supposed to be wearing clothes but they're not. And you've got these plaques that you can have a read at as well. So the story here is about Vikki and Vance. So you've got the car and you've got this broken display case. So 9mm submachine gun preserved in the glass case. To the left of this plaque is the actual weapon Vance carried in a paper wrapped box under some suitcases in the trunk of his car during his and Vicky's crime spree. Never fired and luckily untouched by the hail of bullets that ended its notorious owner's life, the weapon's mint condition inspires dread in all who look upon it. Experts speculate that Vance might have killed as many as 50 people had he ever fired the gun, so long as his aim was exact and he was starting off with a full clip. Or even more if he had additional ammo clips and remembered to reload. So apparently the gun was never ever fired. And then this is for the from the plaque. Then this was the car that they were in. I think, is there a plaque for the car? No. But yes, we've got Vicky's outfits. So these replica outfits show just how conscious Vikki was of the styles of the period. Vikki was well known for her sense of fashion, and her fixation on expensive clothing was thought to be one of the reasons the pair chose a life of crime. And then on the other side, I think, is Vance's. So yeah, we've got some male mannequins. These mannequins display replicas of some of the clothing that was found in the trunk of Vikki and Vance's death car. Vance didn't share Vicki's sense of fashion and chose to dress himself how he envisioned a gangster would dress. The clothes appear to be missing, and of course the gun is missing from the case. So when you come in here, in fact there he is, yeah, I could hear him clunking. So this is Prim Slim. You'll probably know who Prim Slim is, you'll have spoken to him, and he'd be happy to tell you the story of Vikki and Vance and what happened, which is quite funny. So let's have a chat with him. Hello.
Howdy, partner. Any luck tracking down Vance's gun?
Let's talk about something else.
Yes, ma'am. You just tell old Prim Slim what you'd like to know.
So tell me about Vikki and Vance.
You got it, partner. Prim Slim loves to spin a yarn. First things first. Any bosh you've heard about Vikki and Vance being copycats ain't nothing but ill-tempered slander. Fact is, they begun their crime spree 2 days before Bonnie and Clyde robbed their first bank. So who was copying who? Now, true, Vikki and Vance didn't exactly cut a wide swath of murder and bank robbery across the central U.S. like Bonnie and Clyde did. It was more like a narrow swath of shoplifting, check cashing fraud, and gas pump drive-offs. But crime is crime. They drove reckless, too. Having lived by the gun, well, Vance owned one anyway, it was only fitting that the duo of Desperados would die by the gun. Perhaps it was fate itself that accidentally drove them into a crossfire between police and a gang of bank robbers in Plano, Texas. Or maybe they just didn't notice until it was too late. It's been said that Vikki would have tried to cash a bad check in that bank, had she lived. We'll never know for sure. All we know is that the crossfire tore the car and both occupants to pieces, and the police issued an official apology. You can put your eyes on the genuine death card just over yonder. And there's Vance's machine gun in the case next to it.
There we go. Thank you, Prim Slim, for that wonderful story. So
happy trails, partner.
You too. So yeah, there you have it. It's you know, they started 2 whole days before Bonnie and Clyde, so obviously Bonnie and Clyde were the copycats, and they murdered a theoretical 50 plus people, theoretically cashed some bad checks in some banks. So yeah, they were stopped by the police in Texas, in Plano in Texas, because they accidentally drove into the middle of a shootout between the police and a gang of bank robbers. So they weren't even being hunted by the police or anything. It's yeah, it's really quite funny. Quite a funny story, and all their theoretical murders and various things. Yeah, so now that happened, they, you know, it's quite an interesting story that you've got these 2 would-be criminals that, you know, they did a bit of shoplifting, drove away from gas stations, presumably doing that thing where they fill up their car and then drive off without paying and stuff like that. So the world's obviously a much safer place now that Vikki and Vance are no more. And it's a very on-the-nose, very obvious reference to Bonnie and Clyde, including the car and its presence here in Prim. So the real-life car that Bonnie and Clyde died in, which is a 1934 Ford Deluxe V8, is located in Whiskey Pete's Hotel and Casino in the real-life Prim in Nevada. So it's pretty cool, and that's obviously what this is a reference to. But they decided to insert their own Fallouty version to the game, which, you know, just makes it funnier. It's absolutely great. The writing for this whole like set of unmarked quests is actually just spot on, because they yeah, just you know, the way the story works and everything is really, really funny. So now that we know the story of Vikki and Vance, we can head to the location. So basically what happens is, if you have 50 signs when you come here and you talk to Prim Slim about Vikki and Vance, he'll say, yep, the gun's right there, you can have a look at it, and he won't accept that you say, no, the gun isn't there. He's like, no, it's right there, look. But if you've got 50 signs, you can figure out that he's been hacked, and you can get this, which is the corrupted memory block. So speech to text, login protocol, bunch of numbers, male voice, is it still in there? Female, yep, it's here, Sam. Well, hot damn, let's grab it, go. Prim Slim, howdy partners, welcome to the Vikki and Vance Casino and Museum. Can you shut that thing up, Pauline? Sure thing, honey, you grab the gun and we'll get going. Prim Slim says, please do not touch the exhibits. Female, I almost got it, I'll wipe the memory file as well. Okay, let's get going. I'm going to stick this bad boy in my safe until we are ready. Alright, once I'm done with this memory block, we'll head back to Westside until we're ready to go. So that's the data that she tried to delete from Prim Slim and didn't manage to do so. So their hideout is located near Westside, so it's between Westside and North Vegas Square, and also quite near the H&H Tools factory. So let's see what map locations I have available. There's Westside, North Vegas Square. So we'll fast travel to North Vegas Square and see what we can find. I think this might be it. Yep, I think this is it. Where's the door? Where's the door? Is it on this side? Yep, here we go. So this is the place. So we kind of basically, you can see that's the thing for Freeside. So I'll show you on the map where we are. So we're right here. So we've just passed sort of North Vegas Square and headed west towards Westside. So the H&H Tools factory, and then Westside South entrance is here, and the shack is located kind of in between those two locations. So this is where we are. So this is the Wins hideout. I'm going to drop a quick save because there's a couple of different things that you can do with these people. And I want to kind of show them. Well, so let's go in and have a chat with these two. Hello. So yeah, very snazzy. very well dressed. Hang on. I'll need to put the voice back on again. So, yeah, there we go. It's really annoying. Just see when the NPCs just don't stop yapping in the background. It's very, very distracting. Anyway, so say hello to Sammy and Pauline Wins. So these
Prim
two...
wimped out and accepted NCR rule. Some people do anything to feel safe.
You literally robbed a casino in Prim and stole a gun. So, yeah. Anyway.
You best not try any funny business, stranger. One word from me, and Vance will plant you in the ground.
Right, okay. So who are you?
I'm Pauline, of Sammy and Pauline, the Wasteland's most dangerous and notorious criminal couple.
Okay.
You'd best not mess with us, or you'll have a bullet hole where your eye used to be.
Interesting. So, yeah, I love this line. So, you sound pretty tough. Why have I not heard of you two before?
We ain't never heard of you either, so the not being impressed is mutual. Come a week or so, though, and everyone will have heard of Sammy and Pauline. Just you wait.
Okay, so what is your grand plan?
Sammy and me got our hands on a powerful weapon not too long ago. Vance's gun. You know Vance, of Vance and Vikki?
Mm-hmm.
That gun's our shot at the big time. We're gonna sneak it in on the strip and rob one of the casinos. Maybe all of them. We'll be known as the greatest gunslingers to ever terrorize the Wastelands.
Yep. So, this is their grand plan. They stole Vance's gun from Prim, and they've come here, and they're gonna sneak the gun into the strip, and they're gonna rob all the casinos and make a fortune. They've obviously taken their inspiration from their idols, Vikki and Vance, but they want to become greater legends, and this is what they're going to do. And unfortunately, as you know, the dialogue option there says, they're going to get themselves killed because they clearly don't know what they're doing or what they're dealing with. So at this point, you do have a bit of a choice on how to deal with that. So you can say, this is a really stupid idea, and they don't tend to react well, so we'll do that one first. So yeah, your plan's going to get you both killed.
You'll see. You'll feel stupid that you made fun of us when you learn how rich we are.
Okay. So yeah, she's just like, nah, whatever, I don't care. And if you're feeling especially vindictive, you've got the option of killing them, because basically any NPC in Fallout New Vegas can be killed other than Yes Man. So that's an option, and then you can steal their snazzy headwear. So you can see Pauline here's wearing a fancy bonnet, and that's actually, they also stole the clothing from the museum. So this is Vicky's bonnet, and Sammy is wearing Vance's lucky hat. There's not much special about them other than the fact that they're named as unique. So they both give +1 perception, which pretty much all hats do in this game, and they do look the same as the kind of pre-war bonnet and pre-war hat. They just obviously are named after the people that own them. So if you're a collector of fancy hats or unique items, then that might be an option for you as well. Be aware, if you decide to do that and kill them, you won't be able to open the safe without max lock picking skills. So we'll get to why that is in a minute, but if you kill them, then if you want to get the gun, you will have to have 100 lockpick in order to open the safe. There's no other way to get a key, because it's technically a combination safe. So just bear that in mind if you're feeling kind of murdery, that you might want to get the combination for the safe before you start the murdering, and you know, if you want to get all these items. So that's an interesting one. But if you've got 55 speech skill, which probably by the time you get to this part of the map you probably will, because speech is an important thing and it does help out with a lot of different quests, then you have this option here. So you can say, I know you stole Vance's gun, but you can also say, that's the greatest plan I've ever heard in my life, and encourage them to go do the thing.
Really? You think so? We've only got the one gun and there's two of us. And we've never done anything like this before. We've never been on the strip either, so we don't know how many guards the casinos have. And I kept having these nightmares. What are we thinking? We're gonna get ourselves killed. Look, tell Sammy to give you the gun, all right? Just take it. I don't want it around tempting us to do something stupid.
There we go. So, yeah, so that way you'd say, yeah, that's a great idea, go ahead. And she's like, maybe we haven't thought this through, maybe this is a stupid idea, maybe this is dangerous, we don't know what to expect. They've never been on the Strip, so they don't know what it's like, they don't know how many armed guards each casino has, and she's like, yeah, I'm really scared actually, and she's lost her nerve, so she's like, no, I don't want to do this. So that's fine, and then we can talk to Sammy here. So he's wearing Vance's lucky hat.
What are you doing here, stranger? You looking to start some trouble?
No. Pauline says you should give me the gun.
Really? Oh, thank God. I love that woman, but I swear this time she was gonna get us killed. The gun's in the safe. The combination's 5, 23, 34. Take it far away from here before she changes her mind.
There we go. So now we've got the combination for the
Right.
safe, which is just behind him there. So yeah, when you say, Pauline says, give me the gun, and he's like, oh, thank God, we're not going to go through with this, because he was like, we're going to get killed. They both really were scared of the idea of going through with this. So you just come along and be like,
That
you
Mr.
know.
House who lorded over the Strip is dead. Good riddance, I say.
Yeah. So now they're like, okay, let's not do anything. So you've saved the Wasteland from this terrible crime spree that was going to happen. So in the safe, you can get Vance's 9mm submachine gun and also some ammo for it, and there's a bunch of other stuff. Nothing in this place is stealing actually, so you can help yourself to their toaster, their coffee mugs, anything in the fridge. It's all marked as free to take, but you do get Vance's 9mm submachine gun, which is actually a pretty good reward. So it has a slightly higher damage and higher DPS compared to the standard 9mm submachine gun. It also has a drum magazine already installed. As you can see there, so it's got a drum magazine installed already. It does have a slightly lower critical multiplier, but otherwise it's generally quite a good weapon, especially if you're going up against like enemies that don't have a lot of armour, where rapid fire guns tend to do a wee bit better. So it's quite a good thing to have, really. You can also loot, I say, the rest of the place in here, but it's quite a nice reward. And of course, I know a lot of people like to collect all the unique weapons and things that you can find in the games, which is quite fun. So we've prevented a terrible, dreadful crime spree on the Strip. The world's most competent thieves, they are not. The ones, they obviously wanted to try and change their fortune and decided that crime was going to be the best way to do that. And then when they actually got to the point of like going to do it, they kind of bottled it and were like, yeah, maybe this isn't such a good idea, maybe this is dangerous. So they kind of come to that conclusion, and then they'll give you the gun. But it's a fun little kind of unmarked quest, and I think sometimes the unmarked quests like these are the most entertaining, especially because it's an unmarked quest. You get little notes and things in your Pip-Boy, but you don't get a quest marker, you don't get any kind of... You have to figure out where things are, you have to be like, okay, well they said west side, so they must be near west side, and then you can look around and eventually you'll sort of find the place, and you have to kind of figure it out for yourself. The dialogue and things and the writing in this quest is great. The story and the plaques about Vikki and Vance, and how Vance killed the theoretical 50 people if he ever fired the gun, but he didn't actually fire the gun. And when she says, oh, well, we haven't heard of you neither, so the not being impressed is mutual, is just a great line. I absolutely love it. It's just so funny. And it is one that's easy to miss. If you haven't prioritised your science skill early enough in the game, that you can actually get the data from Prim Slim, and then generally by the time you've moved on from Prim, you've probably forgotten about it, and then you can, so you can't miss it quite easily. And obviously it's a big sort of reference to Bonnie and Clyde, and then a reference to the reference to Bonnie and Clyde, so we've got a wee bit of a kind of multi-layered reference here, and fun little fact there. So the combination to the safe that Sammy just gave us there is 052334. It's actually a date. It's the 23rd of May 1934, because in the US you guys do the month and then the day and then the year, which is very confusing because here in Britain we do day, month, year, so it throws me off sometimes unless it is like 23, because then obviously there's not 23 months, so I can figure that out. But that day, the 23rd of May 1934, is the date that Bonnie and Clyde were killed. So it was an obvious choice, I think, for the writers to put that in there as an extra little bit of fun for the reference. And it's just great. It's it's easy missed, but if you find it and you follow the trail, you've got some.
The one you can see for miles. I hear it ain't sealed up no more.
Yeah, and it's quite entertaining. Oh, have we got anything fun in the mailbox? No. There's also a washing machine here. Interesting. Huh. I think we might be near the Windbramin Ranch, actually. That's over there somewhere, which is I'll cover that at some point because it's quite fun. But yeah, so that's the story of Vikki and Vance and the story of Sammy and Pauline Wins. Don't do crime is the takeaway. It tends to not go well for you. But I think it's quite fun that you encouraging them and they're like, maybe we shouldn't do this, and that's what kind of pushes them to sort of have second thoughts and think that, yeah, maybe this isn't such a good idea. So I think it's quite a fun little story. Oh, my voice is going. That's not good. So yeah, let me know what you think. Have you encountered this? Obviously the gun is quite a good reward. So especially if you're kind of using the rapid fire weapons a lot in the game, it's one that you probably would want to kind of seek out. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.